Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round 3 of the league tournament that happened at Die Hard Games on February 1st, 2024. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format anyone wants, really. More info in the description. League Cup, Saturday, February 24th at 11 a.m. Central Time at Die Hard Games, and check out Pokemon's event locator for premier events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, and pre-releases. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's get into this game and the conclusion of our little tournament here. On the left, Gardevoir. On the right, Mewtwo. Electric Mewtwo. Looks like Electric Mewtwo got a mulligan potentially, and is actually starting things off by attaching a Bravery Charm to that active Mewtwo EX, giving it plus 50 HP. Manaphy is put onto the bench with its Water Veil ability, protecting the bench Pokemon from damage from opponents' attacks. Artisan put into play. You gotta do what you gotta do to get your board set up. Artisan lets either player during their turn search for a non-rule box Pokemon to add to the bench. Xatu found and put onto the bench. Ultra Ball, discarding a couple cards to search the deck for a Pokemon. Probably another Xatu here. Or, no, you don't really need another Mewtwo EX right now, as you're facing Gardevoir, and they need a couple turns at least to set up. You really want your Xatu Energy Acceleration online, as another Xatu is found. We'll discuss a little more of the deck strategy as it becomes relevant, as things are passed over to our Gardevoir player here. Immediately starting things off with Artisan to search the deck for a non-rule box Pokemon. With that Ralts being brought to the front, I imagine we're going to see that hit the board, but our player is going to take a little bit to use the first deck search to see what's in the deck, see what might be prized. As a level ball is immediately played to look through the deck for a Pokemon that has 90 HP or less. Another Ralts being found. We've got 3 Ralts on the board. Now we're going to get that deck good and shuffled here before our next action, which is probably a Radiant Greninja concealed cards. Yep, concealed cards being used to discard an energy card and draw 2 cards with that Radiant Greninja. A TM being attached to that Radiant Greninja for fun, I think. No, that's actually TM Evolution, I think. Okay. So TM Evolution gives the Pokemon it's attached to the attack evolution, and you can evolve 2 of your bench Pokemon, I think. Search a deck for a Pokemon that evolves from 2 of the Pokemon on the bench and evolve them. And as the energy, psychic energy is attached to the active Radiant Greninja. Very cool. Ultra Ball being played here, discarding a TM Evolution and another Ultra Ball. Okay. Searching the deck for that Manaphy. Okay. Interesting choice there. I'm not sure if the opponent's deck has any way to damage the bench. Oh, okay. I guess they do with a Mew EX. Let's say Mew EX with its genome hacking can move into the active and copy Radiant Greninja's Moonlight Shuriken, so benching the Manaphy just to prevent any of that. It would take a lot for the opponent to do, but not messing around here as Manaphy hits the bench, and I think we're seeing Evolution, the Evolution attack being used here. Yep, to evolve into 1 Kirlia on the bench and 2 Kirlia on the bench. That's the attack, so things are passed over to the opponent, who tops decks a Mewtwo EX, puts it on the bench, and then instantly plays Iono to have both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of the deck, and then draw cards equal to their remaining prize cards. Xatu is evolved on the bench. Let's talk about the Xatu now. It has the Clairvoyant Sense ability. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic psychic energy from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon. If you attach an energy to a Pokemon in this way, draw 2 cards. So energy and hand acceleration going on with that Xatu here. Very cool Pokemon. Fog Crystal being played to search the deck for a Psychic Energy this time. That's all we need. We've got the Pokemon now, and I mean, I guess we'd really like another Xatu down. Maybe another Natu as well, but Xatu's going to use Clairvoyant Sense to accelerate an energy to the bench Mewtwo EX and draw 2 more cards. Let's see what else our Mewtwo players got. Boss on a Kirlia KO would be optimal, I think. There is still the Artisan in play too, so we can get that other Natu down if they want. Also merit to not clogging the bench, as a Psychic Energy is attached to the active Mewtwo EX here. I think we're resolving the Artisan now. And actually going to fail it, I think. Unless that was just off of the off of something different. I don't think so. I think it had to have been the Artisan. And let's see what else our Lightning Mewtwo players got for us here. Lost Vacuum could be good to deny the opponent the Artisan. Lost Vacuum sends Nest Ball to the Lost Zone in order to send a Stadium or Tool card in play to the Lost Zone. That Artisan being the target there as it hits the Lost Zone. And Mewtwo EX is going to use its attack that I will tell you about as soon as I look it up. Transfer Charge for 1 Psychic Energy. Attach up to 2 basic Psychic Energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So let's see where they want to put that Psychic Energy onto the bench, as things are passed over to our Gardevoir player here. With 2 Refinement Kirlias online, but going to start things off with the Fog Crystal to search the deck for a basic Psychic Energy or a basic Psychic Pokemon. That Cresselia being eyed up and chosen there. Let's take a peek at Cresselia. Alright, that one I know can move damage counters to the opponent's side of the field. But we'll talk about it a little more when it's relevant, as Radiant Greninja discards an energy to draw 2 cards with its ability. Kirlia says discard a card and draw 2. Refinement. As that useless Battle VIP pass hits the discard pile there. We've got a pretty healthy grip of cards in the hand, one of them being that Gardevoir EX, but actually going to Refinement away a Counter Catcher first to draw a couple more cards, get some more options in the hand. Now we're doing a Psychic Energy count from the discard pile. Radiant Greninja retreats into that Cresselia. Okay. And we're going to pick on the bench Natu, I guess, as a rare candy is played in order to evolve the Rotts into that Gardevoir EX. Gardevoir EX has the Psychic Embrace ability that lets you accelerate Psychic Energy from the discard pile to your Psychic Pokemon and play in any way you like. But for each Psychic Energy that's accelerated, 2 damage counters are taken by that Pokemon. Perfect synergy with the Kirlia that we're about to see happen. Psychic Energy accelerated onto that Kirlia, placing 2 damage counters on it. A couple more to the bench Kirlias. They'll get 2 damage counters as well. Psychic Energy manually attached from hand, and then Cresselia uses its Moonglow reverse attack. Move 2 damage counters from each of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So the 6 damage counters on the Psychic side of the field were moved over and placed on that poor Natu there. 50 HP. More than enough to take the KO on it, as play resumes over on Electric Mewtwo's side. They immediately start with an Iono, as the opponent's taking a prize card, so both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of the deck, and then they both draw cards equal to their remaining prize cards. Gardevoir getting 5, Mewtwo getting 6. There is a Capturing Aroma in hand. You flip the coin, and if it's tails, then a basic Pokemon is found. That's what was needed here, as more Natu need to be found, but nothing actually targeted off of that Capturing Aroma here. Interesting. If heads is flipped off a Capturing Aroma, a evolution Pokemon would be found. But tails for basic, no basic targeted here. More Natus, either prize. I think we've only seen 2, right? So are there 2 prized if they play 4. Energy attached to the active Pokemon. Fog Crystal being played to search the deck for a Psychic Pokemon. I imagine that one's going to be accelerated with a Xatu's Clairvoyant Sense. Onto the bench to draw a couple cards. Going to go on to the Xatu. More options in hand. Our player checks out the discard before they attack with that Mewtwo EX. Let's talk about Mewtwo EX's Photon Kinesis attack for 2 Psychic Energy 10 plus. This attack does 30 more damage for each Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. With 5 in play, we're doing 160 damage, more than enough to take the KO on Cresselia. As Kirlia is put into the active spot and play resumes over on Gardevoir's side, Radiant Greninja discards an energy to draw 2 cards. Let's see what else our Gardevoir players got. Another refinement being used to discard a card and draw 2 more. Refinement again, discard, draw 2. And there we go. That Shining Arcana Gardevoir is evolved onto the bench. It has the Shining Arcana ability, of course. You look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If any of them are energy cards, you can accelerate them. Basic energy, of course. Accelerate them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Otherwise, just add the cards to your hand. So just a draw 2 right there. No problem. Artisan being put into play. There is another Shining Arcana Gardevoir in hand, but we're actually going to start things off with an Iono, or continue things, let's say. So many cards being drawn this turn. Continuing things with an Iono. You guys know what that one does by now. Shuffle the hands to the bottom of the deck. Draw for your remaining prize cards. Fog Crystal will be played now. Potentially played to search the deck for a Psychic Energy or Psychic Pokemon. Psychic Energy found here. We've got all the Pokemon out that we need. There's also an Artisan in play that can bring a Ralts from the deck onto the bench if there's one in there. Our Psychic Energy being moved to the front of the discard pile here as an Ultra Ball is played, discarding 2 more of them to search the deck for a Pokemon. There's that Ralts. Sometimes you just got it all, right? Didn't even need to use the Artisan. Unless the Ultra Ball was played, it was failed, and Artisan was used to find the Ralts. We'll never know. Alright, Psychic Embrace accelerates a Psychic Energy to the active Kirlia. It takes 20 damage, and then it retreats into the Shining Arcana Gardevoir with 2 Psychic Energy already on it. Let's see, we've got 6 energy accelerated from the discard pile to that Shining Arcana Gardevoir. 12 damage counters put onto it. It's got 20 HP left, and it's currently doing 6, 7, 8 energy, right, total? Let's do an, let's see, I didn't do that right. I'm sure it's more than enough to take the KO on the opposing Pokemon, but let's see. $300 damage, I believe it's currently doing. Mewtwo has 280. So there we go, Brainwave for 300 to take the KO on the opposing Mewtwo EX. Mewtwo EX comes into the active spot. Play resumes over on its side as a Nest Ball is played to search the deck for a Mew EX. Okay. It's not going to take a lot to do 20 damage to the opposing Gardevoir to take the KO, but we all know how quickly a Gardevoir deck can get another Shining Arcana Gardevoir into play and swinging for those big numbers, especially with that reversal energy. Alright, Mew EX hits the bench. Energy gets attached to it with Clairvoyant Sense. 2 cards are drawn. Energy attached manually per turn onto that Mew EX. Pat to the Peak put into play, followed by an Iono. Okay, here we go. Both players shuffle their hands. They go to the bottom. Our Gardevoir player gets 3. Our Mewtwo player gets 5. This is what our Mewtwo player needs to mount this comeback here, as Bravery Charm is attached to the active Mewtwo EX, giving it 280 HP effectively. Bravery Charm goes on to the bench Mew EX, giving it more HP as well. And Photon Kinesis takes the KO on the opposing Gardevoir. Debating on putting up a Ralts, but actually going to go with a Radiant Greninja in the active spot, as Kirlia is evolved onto the bench. The other Kirlia on the bench uses Refinement to draw a couple cards. We can get rid of those counter catchers, as it looks like we're the aggressor in this matchup, or in this game. And Tulip will be used to bring back from the discard pile, I believe it's any combo of Psychic Pokemon and Psychic Energy. And since we like the energy in the discard pile in this Psychic Embrace deck, 4 Psychic Pokemon are actually going to go into the hand off of Tulip. We've got all the Psychic Energy in the discard. Ralts hits the bench. Shining Arcana Gardevoir is evolved on the bench. It uses Shining Arcana to draw a couple cards. Ooh, and we found that Reversal Energy. It's not online, but always a good thing to have in hand for when it is online. Energy attached to the Kirlia on the bench, and things are passed over to our Mewtwo player. Is Gardevoir setting up the trap? We'll find out soon enough. Gardevoir, of course, likes being behind in prize, or doesn't mind, let's say, being behind in prize cards, as its counter catcher, which is basically like a boss's orders, is online as long as you're losing the game. And there we go, that Reversal Energy. That's the next one I was going to talk about. But we actually see our Mewtwo player playing one of their own. Very cool tech card in this Mewtwo deck. Reversal Energy, since the opponent has fewer prize cards than you do, that Reversal Energy is online, and it's 3 energy of any type as long as you're behind on the prizes. Of course, the Psychic type is the relevant one here. So there are effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Psychic Energy in play right now on Mewtwo's side with that Reversal Energy online. Boss's orders being used to bring up that Gardevoir EX that's worth 2 prizes, and we're going to swing just as hard as we can into the Gardevoir. The Path to the Peak is in play. That is very important. Forgot to mention it last turn. Looks like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 220 damage. Either way, not enough to KO the Gardevoir EX, as play resumes over on its side, with Kirlia being evolved on the bench. That Kirlia uses a Refinement to discard a card and draw a couple cards. Shining Arcana now, taking a look at the top 2 and adding them to the hand. Is this Gardevoir EX going down? Again, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, as the Gardevoir players got some time with the current prizes that are to be taken. Reversal Energy being attached to that bench Kirlia, making it nice and juicy a target for the Mewtwo EX. So I think we might just see a pass here, because I don't know if we have the way to get rid of the Path to the Peak. Yep, pass things over to our Mewtwo player, who uses a Clairvoyant Sense to accelerate a Psychic Energy to the bench Mew EX and draw 2 cards. Mewtwo player does still have more prize cards than their opponent, so that Reversal Energy is online. They are going to play a Tulip of their own to get some Psychic Pokemon and energy back from the discard pile, not to put onto the bench there. 2 Psychics added to the hand, I think, off of the Tulip as well. We're doing lots of damage with that Mewtwo EX right now. More than enough to take the KO on the damaged Gardevoir, but actually going to start things with an escape rope. Interesting. The opponent promotes a new active Pokemon first, then the escape rope player does. I imagine we'll see the Mew come up into the active spot as it has free retreat. And now is that... oh my gosh. Wow, what a turn we're seeing here. We'll see if it actually happens, but Mew EX has that genome hacking attack that can copy the opponent's active Pokemon's attack, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Mew EX copies Radiant Greninja's Moonlight Shuriken with genome hacking, and then Moonlight Shuriken says discard 2 energy from this Pokemon and then do 90 damage to 2 of the opponent's Pokemon. So double Kirlia can be taken out. Oh no, oh no, big oversight on the Mewtwo player's side and my side. The Manaphy is on the bench on the opponent's side, so it's protecting the bench from attack damage. So really only 90 damage can be done to the active Pokemon if Radiant Greninja's attack is copied here. So, ooh, I think a potential big oversight on our Mewtwo player's side. They probably would have just liked to take the KO on the opposing Gardevoir EX. That's worth 2 prizes. That was in the active spot before the escape rope. But here we are. Photon Kinesis, attack the opposing Greninja, take the KO, tie things up in this mid-game here. Kirlia promoted into the active spot, and play resumes over on Gardevoir's side. Those reversal energies on both sides are now shut off as both players are tied in prize cards. Refinement being used to discard a card and draw 2 more cards. We've got the worker now. Yep, that discards the stadium in play. Goodbye, Path to the Peak. Draw 3 cards. Now Psychic Embrace is online, and things are looking very scary for our Mewtwo player now, as they would have been down to 2 prize cards here, but we'll see what our players do as a Shining Arcana is used to look at the top 2 cards and add them to the hand. Shining Arcana evolved in the active spot. Fog Crystal being used to look at the 3-card deck. 3 prize cards left to take, so I think we're okay with our deck size here. And now we're going to accelerate some energy. 1 energy accelerated to the active Gardevoir in order to fulfill the retreat cost. It retreats into Cresselia. Energy accelerated onto Cresselia with Psychic Embrace. Take that 20 damage, of course, and we're going to do some healing to pick on that Xatu again. Or the Xatu. Do we have enough to KO the Xatu? Oh, the Manaphy. Alright, because Manaphy prevents attack damage, not placement of damage counters. So bye-bye Manaphy. I think I would have probably liked to see a KO on the Xatu more so there, since there's really no way to... I guess there is a way to do attack damage to the bench with that Scream Tail. So, okay, going for the Manaphy, or the Xatu, I guess, in that case. Either way, that's why the players are out here playing, and I'm out here commentating this game. As a Deoxys is put onto the bench on Mewtwo's side, energy accelerated to it with Xatu and 2 cards drawn. Capturing Aroma. Debating on being played, but first going to go for that Super Rod to cycle back into the deck from the discard a Mewtwo EX. And yeah, we're looking to set up another Mewtwo here, I suppose. That Deoxys, it's mostly just a 1 prize attacker here. If it attacks, we'll check out what its attacks are. But for now, we'll let it be as a Capturing Aroma flips tails, I believe that was, and then a basic Pokemon will be found, that Mewtwo EX, brought out from the deck onto the bench. Let's see, no Psychic Energy currently in hand. That Mew EX is hogging 4 of them, it looks like. I wonder if our player was going for the copy Greninja's attack play that this whole time and kind of overlooking the Manaphy. Very easy thing to do. I did it too. But definitely something that needs to be paid attention to. Shining Arcana being checked out here, seeing if we could copy that attack. So yeah, I think we're seeing what attack would be good to copy here with Mew EX's genome hacking. There is a 2-prizer in play in that Gardevoir EX, but if 2 prize cards are taken by our Mewtwo player, then the reversal energy is online on the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, but it looks like we're going to actually boss his orders, bring up that Shining Arcana Gardevoir with the reversal energy, seeing that as the biggest threat on the board here. Mewtwo's definitely got the KO on the opposing Gardevoir, and it takes it. Shining Arcana put into the active spot. Boss's orders will bring up the Mew EX, I imagine. Energy accelerated onto the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and then it takes the KO on the Mew EX, and the last 2 prizes of the game, I'm pretty sure, is what went down there. And there we go. That was our tournament. What an awesome game to end with. Congrats to our league tournament champ, and as always, thank you all for playing some Pokemon. What did you think of this video in the commentary? Please let me know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.